girlies, welcome back to another YouTube video. My name is Alicia Gogan if you are new, and if you are new, don't forget to subscribe because it's a good time over here. Okay girlies, so in today's video, I want to talk about the importance of getting out of fight or flight, which is a nervous system response, in order to allow yourself to drop into your feminine energy, to allow you to embody your divine feminine energy. I have been somebody who has had to learn how to heal from a lot of traumas, a lot of wounded masculine energy, a lot of things in my life that has created my nervous system to stay in fight or flight. And naturally, when I was going through a lot of my healing work and spiritual work and all of these healing things, what I realized that I was doing was I was regulating my nervous system, allowing myself to live more of a stress-free life, and in doing that, only then was I really able to access my divine feminine energy and to express myself more as a feminine woman. But I was able to do that because I was healing my nervous system, because I was healing a lot of the traumas that created this nervous system response, which I was constantly reactive, I was constantly overstressed, I was sick, I was unhealthy, I wasn't sleeping right, I wasn't eating right, I wasn't thinking right, which makes it really hard for you to step into this feminine energy journey, which I know it's really big on YouTube and TikTok and everywhere right now. But I find a lot of women struggle with this because they're operating from a place that does not allow them to step into the feminine energy. A lot of women are very overly masculine because of their life circumstance, which is, there's no shade to that. That's just where you're at right now in order to survive. A lot of us have to be more masculine in order to survive in our lives, but with being overly masculine, it taxes our bodies. It creates a lot of stress within our bodies. It creates this nervous system response of constantly living in fight or flight, and then it makes us sick, it makes us overworked, it makes us depressed and angry and reactive and sad. And when you're in that state, you can't be in your natural feminine, divine feminine state. It's really impossible. So I find a lot of women, and this was me included, really struggle with how to even be feminine when they're operating in such a state. So let's first talk about why you might be in fight or flight. Fight or flight is just basically a nervous system response that basically signals to yourself that there is danger around. Now, this type of nervous system response is very important to make sure that we are safe, to make sure that no one is going to harm us, and if somebody is around us that could potentially be harming us, we react properly. But what happens, especially in childhood and throughout our lives, when you go through traumatic experiences, when you go through emotional neglect, when you go through abuse, all of these things, every single time something happens to you, your body responds on a physical level, and you basically turn on your fight or flight response. But what happens when you're constantly in a stressful environment, a unhealthy environment, your nervous system stays all the way on fight or flight, which when your body is always in the constant stress, the constant reactive mode, your body doesn't have the energy to focus on bodily functions, to focus on proper digestion, to focus on proper sleep. We have another side of our nervous system, which is the rest and digest, which is obviously that calming feeling within us. But when you're constantly in a stressful environment in life, it's really hard for you to calm down because you're here to survive. And if everything around you in your environment is triggering you to think that you must stay in this fight or flight, that's what you're going to do naturally. It's just very automatic. And what ends up happening over time is this is where autoimmune diseases start to arise. This is where different diseases and sicknesses start to arise because your body is not functioning right. Your body is so consumed with making sure that you are safe that it's going to take away the energy that it needs to properly digest and make sure everything is moving correctly in your body and making sure you're getting enough sleep. All of these things that are very healing to the body. So that's why it's very important when you realize the life that you have been given, the things that you have been through in your past, which everyone has been through a lot of different traumatizing things that create this nervous system reaction of fight or flight. It's important that you learn ways in which that you can regulate your nervous system so that when you are triggered, when something happens in your life that you cannot control, you can learn how to bring yourself back down to rest and digest. And of course, the benefits of learning how to regulate your nervous system so you're not constantly in this fight or flight response is that you get to get more deeply in touch with your natural feminine essence, where you are able to be vulnerable and you are able to be in touch with your intuition and listen to what your body needs. You are able to tap into this creative energy that is naturally within feminine women. We're able to relate to other people. You're able to connect with other people. These are all manifestations of healthy feminine energy, but it's really hard for you to access those or become that woman when your body is focused on survival, when you're in constant survival mode. And that's why I think it's really hard for a lot of women to even understand or push themselves into embodying feminine energy, because they're in survival mode. Like, they don't have, like, they can't drop into being calm and non-reactive and being able to listen to somebody else versus what their own thoughts are telling themselves, because they're just so overconsumed with a lot of stress. If you have not heard of the term of wounded feminine or even wounded masculine energy, I'm gonna put a little photo on the screen right now, but the wounded feminine, she looks for external validation and acknowledgement. She can be very insecure. She can be very reactive. She can be stuck in victimhood. She can be excessively attached. She could have no boundaries. She could be letting her emotions completely take her on this roller coaster all throughout life. She could have no direction. She could be too much in her feminine energy where she has no real regard or understanding of why it's important to also have healthy masculine energy within herself. And I truly believe that these expressions of wounded feminine energy are really a result of your nervous system and your state of mind and your bodily state. And it's really important that you focus on learning how to bring yourself back down to peace, bring yourself back to that rest and digest state of being. Now, you're not always going to be in that, and that's totally fine. It's not the end of the world that you are going to be switched on to survival mode / that fight or flight response. You're going to need that sometimes in your life, but to learn how to heal yourself and to learn how to bring your nervous system back into a balanced state is going to be crucial if you want to move forward on this embodiment of being this feminine energy, this divine feminine woman that we're always talking about here on the channel, and just culture in general. Everyone's talking about being more feminine. So here's a few things that I have done to allow me to regulate my nervous system, to allow me to then step more into my feminine energy, that I think can help you as well on your journey. Okay, so I'm going to just preface this and start this off with saying you can definitely go to a therapist when we're talking about learning how to regulate your nervous system. Now, I will mention that going to a somatic therapist could potentially be a little bit better than going to just like a regular talk therapist. Now, take that with a grain of salt, but somatic therapists really work with the body, the physical body, which a lot of trauma can be stored within the body. And of course, your nervous system really is living all within your body. That is something that I continue to do, and that work is definitely great. And I can totally go into another video. I'm thinking also about interviewing my somatic therapist on my podcast. I'm going to ask her yet. I haven't asked her yet, but let me know if you're interested in that. But another really good thing for your nervous system is to not suppress your emotions. Now, throughout life, you experience all ranges of emotions. You experience positive and negative. You experience shame and anger and happiness and sadness and all of these things. And we get taught throughout our lives that we can't express sadness or feel shame or embarrassment or rejection. We're not allowed to feel those things, or we run away from feeling those things, and we only express the things that other people accept in society or whoever is around us. But the truth is we are human beings and we experience all ranges of emotions, which means that if you do not allow yourself to let them out, what will happen is you will suppress these emotions within you and they will reside within you. And that is taxing on your nervous system. And I personally believe the more you continue to suppress emotions, they will manifest physically as ailments within your body. It's happened to me, and I can make a whole separate video on my nerve pain that I had in my hands for almost 2 years. And when I started to do more of this emotional release work and a lot of guided meditations. Only then did my hands get better. I went to every doctor, I did every treatment on the planet Earth, and nothing helped other than releasing trapped, deep emotions that I was suppressing within my life. So I think a great practice that you can do is every morning when you wake up, let out any emotion that you're feeling by writing it down in your journal. But you want to write it down as if no one will ever see that, because if you have that thought in your head that somebody might actually see this journal, you're probably not going to write everything that you actually feel. And when you write things that you actually feel, you're going to feel like, oh my gosh, I'm such a terrible person for writing this. Like, I could never let anyone see this. Those are the things that you should be writing out. Why? Because those are the things that reside within you. You are not a bad person because you have a negative thought about someone. You are not a bad person because you feel shame about something that you did and you just don't want to, you're just ignoring it. Just because you're ignoring it doesn't actually mean that it's going away. You're just storing it within your body. Let that out. Have a journal practice you can do every day for even a week in the morning, and you're writing out everything. And when you are done, rip that piece of paper up and throw it away. That way it allows you to really just write whatever you want, because you know no one is going to see it. Another amazing thing that you can do is you can start to do guided meditations right before you go to sleep or at night when you're winding down. Now, this is important because throughout your day, you have so many things going on. You have people coming at you from different angles, whether that be at work or at school. You have text messages coming in, you have stressful things, you have happy things, you have all of these things that are going on constantly every single day. And you get very accustomed to these things, but you are just training your nervous system to stay in that fight or flight, stay in the reaction, and stay on and alert at all times. And it's important and very healing for you to learn how to bring your nervous system back down to balance, to homeostasis, to rest and digest so that you can have restful sleep. And if you struggle with kind of turning off your mind before you go to sleep, I think guided meditations are a great resource that you can use. I'm going to link the ones that I use, especially when I was healing my hand pain, down below, where it's basically a woman who is bringing you through a meditation to allow yourself to bring your awareness to your body and to calm down your nervous system so that you can heal while you sleep. And I want to note that doing guided meditations, you can do them at any time. So let's say you're somebody who is just overly stressed and overly scared or fearful of something that is going on in your life right now. You can use these as a tool to continue to bring you throughout your day. So again, when I was struggling with a lot of chronic pain in my hands, I could not get my mind off the feeling of the pain in my hands. Like, I was constantly always feeling the pain. And so I needed to get my mind off of it, but it was really hard to, because how do you ignore physical pain in your hands? So throughout the day, when I was doing my healing journey, every day, like 3 times a day, I would be doing a guided meditation. As soon as I woke up in the morning, I would bring my mind back to a rest and digest state, and I would listen to the guided meditation, and it would get my mind off of the pain. Throughout the day, in the middle of the day, like after lunch, when I started to, my mind starts to go all directions. Oh, when is this pain gonna go away? Is it ever gonna go away? Like, my life is ruined, all these things. Catching myself, okay, let's try and go to a meditation. Let's do something to get my mind off of this right now and to bring myself back to rest and digest, because that's what's happening when you're overthinking, when you are ruminating, when you are stressing, you're turning on fight or flight. So what can you do to bring that back down? Guided meditations are great for that. Another really big thing that you can do for yourself when it comes to regulating your nervous system and just staying out of the survival mode is when you wake up in the morning, and I know you guys have heard this before, don't go on your phone. And trust me, I know this is hard for me, because I have gone through periods in my life where I wake up and I'm not on my phone, and when I'm feeling crappy, I will wake up and I'll just allow myself to go on my phone. But I think I can completely feel a difference within my own nervous system physically when I wake up and I am looking at my emails and my comments and responding to all my friends, even if everything is positive, even if the people that I'm looking forward to text are texting me and we're having a good conversation. Like, it's not even about that. It's the stimulus of all of these things coming at you. In the morning, it's such a good practice to wake up and get in touch with your own self, your intuition. That is a feminine energy practice within itself, is for you to give yourself time to connect with your inner self, your intuition, your higher self, whatever type of practice that you want. It doesn't have to be long. It can be like 5 minutes. You can either be journaling, whatever you're feeling, that maybe you're feeling a little bit of anxiety, so you're gonna write something out, or maybe you're feeling happy, or you're inspired and you have an idea and you wanna execute it. Whatever it is, you're writing this down, but you're connecting to yourself before you're connecting to others. This is a great practice to keep your nervous system regulated. Another great tip is to turn down your music, turn off background sounds, YouTube videos, podcasts, all of these things that are coming at you throughout your day as much as you can. I'm not saying never watch YouTube or listen to a podcast and things of that nature, but try, let's say throughout your week, usually you go on a walk and you listen to a podcast. One day out of the week when you go on that walk, try to just not listen to anything. No podcast, no music, no nothing. And just bring your attention to how your body feels, how calm you actually feel when you take out that stimulus. And again, this is stuff that you would look at and be like, oh, it's positive to listen to a podcast or music that really uplifts me. And that's great. You don't have to take that out of your life completely. But again, it's to realize that your body is physically reacting to a lot of things that you're pushing on it at all times. And having YouTube play in the background while you're scrolling on your phone, like that's too many things sometimes. So that is something that I have been doing, and I feel the physical difference when I turn off the TV and just cook and not have anything playing in the background. Another great tip would be to move your body. When you're feeling anxiety, when you're feeling stuckness, when you're feeling depression or sadness or any heavy emotion, remind yourself that these emotions are residing physically within you, and that can stress your nervous system. That can turn on that fight or flight, like worry, stress, survival, what do I have to do? It can be very taxing. And I think it's important when you're feeling like this to move your body, to get this energy moving through you physically, whether that be yoga, or you can go on a walk, or doing a HIIT workout, going on the treadmill, doing weightlifting, anything. Again, it's gonna be less about the outcome. Don't focus so much on the outcome of, oh, well, I don't really have a goal to lose weight or to build muscle right now, so I'm not gonna go to the gym. Or you're focused on the outcome of, this workout better make me feel better. Don't focus on the outcome. Focus on the fact that this is a practice that will allow you over time to calm down, to move your energy through you, to bring yourself back to rest and digest. And even if this little walk didn't do it completely, over time, the more that you signal to your nervous system that you are here, that you are giving it the practices it needs to feel safe and calm, to drop down into rest and digest, to drop down into your feminine energy, you will start to see over time the effects that it's having. You will start to feel yourself actually be more calm. These are practices that not overnight you're going to feel 100%. Now, when you do the practice, maybe you will in that moment, but it doesn't mean that you're just automatically just gonna be healed. Just remind yourself that when you're doing these type of things, that there's gonna be no quick fix. It takes a lot of time, especially when you have been somebody who has chronically been living in fight or flight, in survival mode. Your nervous system is not just gonna trust that, oh, okay, well, we did that journal practice one time, so now I'm just gonna not live in fight or flight. Your body is trying to keep you alive at all times. And if it still perceives everything to be a threat, then it's gonna go right into fight or flight. So you need to be there for your body, your physical body. You need to adopt these practices and add them in throughout your day and your week and your months, where you are signaling to your body that it's okay to calm down, that we are not back in childhood, that we are not around the same people that are triggering us. And if we are, there's still practices that we can do to remind ourselves that we are safe, that we don't need to be alert all the time. I hope that some of these practices will help you. If you want to see some of the practices that I'm doing, which I've already mentioned in this video, but you want to actually see me in like a little daily vlog type thing, I can totally show you some of my morning routine rituals or what I'm doing. I go through different periods of life where I'm gonna need different practices, and I think that's important to also remember that you don't need to do everything like the same thing every day all day. Like that's just very unrealistic. But if you want to see any of my practices, definitely let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you are not already, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.